Has everyone seen Sasha Calle on the red carpet for The Flash? Literally owned the entire event with that fit. There was also someone at the premiere who called Ben Affleck Daddy in front of J-Lo.
Aging. James Gunn's wife
J-Lo's here, J-Lo's here.
This is so funny. It is currently just shy of 30 degrees Celsius in Glasgow, Scotland at the moment. I know that probably sounds like a joke to other parts of the world, but we are not built for this. But watching The Flash yesterday literally made me forget about everything bad in the world. What's good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. By the time you see this, The Flash will be released worldwide. It has been engulfed in a lot of controversy and a lot of hype recently, but I'm going to try and take it down a notch and be as brutally honest as I can for you, while also geeking out just a little bit. There will be massive spoilers in this review, but they'll be kept for the end and I'll give you plenty of warning beforehand. Barry Allen has never been a DC favourite character of mine, but let's see if The Flash changes that. Okay. The word I keep returning to in order to describe The Flash is sensational. And this isn't me speaking fresh out the cinema. I've had a full day to think on this and my mind is still blown. Personally, I thought it delivered the multiversal event that was promised. It also set up the DCU shift going forward, and it 100% nailed the Barry Allen humour we've all come to adore in live action. I am in awe of Andy Muschietti's ability to balance all of that humour alongside the high-octane action. But that's not all. There's also an emotional core to the story that actually lands and will have you fishing for a tissue. I've said across all my social media platforms that I had two core emotions watching this in the cinema. I couldn't stop laughing and I couldn't wipe that stupid wide-eyed grin off my face. Andy basically dialed everything up to 100 and then nailed the landing. Just complete confidence in what he was doing and the balls to see it right through to the end. The opening sequence of The Flash is probably the funniest and most bizarre one in any superhero film. I was actually surprised they let so many things fly in that scene, but I applaud the courage to play with fire. One thing this movie excels in is the humour, which is pretty hard to accomplish in the current climate. Even if all the jokes don't land for you, and trust me, there are a lot. There will be at least one moment when slushy comes out of your nose. My favourite was a scene in the Batwing regarding Barry's new mask, looking something like this. The main star of the show, Ezra Miller, is brilliant at playing both Barrys. The amount of chemistry they have with themselves, how investable both versions become, is what elevates this emotional, grounded core we look for in these superhero films. Otherwise, they would all just fly away without it. I've always thought Ezra's comedic timing was on point even outside of DC. A lot of the jokes would have never worked without them on board. They're also just a great actor in general. Moving on to the Batman. Ben Affleck returns as the suave, self-aware Bruce Wayne, flaunting our first live-action look at the blue and grey suit, and it looks stunning riding through my home city of Glasgow, Scotland. My biggest flex is that my home city has literally become Gotham. The Flash film here, but so did the Batman and the cancelled Batgirl project. I really like Ben's portrayal of the Caped Crusader, and the sarcasm he brought to the vigilante with the big bucks is a really cool persona in my opinion. Speaking of cool, Michael Keaton did everything he needed to be the badass of this movie. Nothing ever felt cheesy or a washed out pastime. All of his action scenes went hard, and Danny Elfman's theme blasting in the background caused me to ascend many times. The third member of this alternate Justice League team was Sasha Calle as Kara, Zor-El, or Supergirl. Sadly, her performance is quite brief, but she did a phenomenal job with the time that she had. Just her whole demeanour and the way she held herself and spoke was really impressive for her small part. Honestly, love to see more of her leading something feature-length, such as an adaptation of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I recently shared this sentiment on Twitter and was met with this monstrosity of a tweet, keeping the name blurred out so they don't get the attention they so desperately crave. But generally, why would I discard a portrayal that I already loved and want to see more of for something that doesn't exist? Or for something I have no idea would be good? Moving into some of the technical stuff like the CGI, 90% of the special effects are spot on, especially when Barry is sprinting up to Gotham City or using the Speed Force. And the sound design was absolutely arse-ripping in the cinema's super screen. Like, great stuff. There were a few moments when the CGI took a major Hulk smash though. It was pretty bad. But considering the fact that they had to recreate the multiverse and splintered timelines on screen, they did a pretty good job. The editing and literally all of the action sequences were top tier. The entire movie was well paced for the amount crammed into it. The costumes, because aesthetics is big for me, were also flawless. I thought the Flash suit in Zack Snyder's Justice League was great, but they really brought it home in this one. Even though we finally got a blue and grey Batman suit, kinda, sorta, the armour placed on top of it looked a little bit funky sometimes. But Bruce is just a human, he gotta protect those pecs. Supergirl's attire was also a slick creation made with Henry Cavill's suit in mind. That billowing red cape will never get old. I think we've finally come to the point where I'm going to get into some spoilers. So if you want to go in fresh, click away now. Feel free to come back and chat about it once you've seen the show. And thanks for being here if you've made it this far. I can count on two hands the amount of times movies have literally made my heart race. The Flash's multiverse scene made the count. During the climax we see all of the universes colliding into one another, and it makes me shiver just thinking about it. It turned into a geek fest of past portrayals. From Christopher Reeve, which made me cry a bit, to Nicolas Cage. This was obviously addressing the scrapped Tim Burton project Superman Lives that was going to star Nicolas Cage as Kal-El. It's almost become a sort of urban legend of movie trivia, so it was sweet to see a nod to this, but they did not need to linger on it for as long as they did. Other cameos in the movie included a brief shot of Adam West as Batman, Boba Fett himself, Temuera Morrison as Tom Curry, and a shot of Henry Cavill's Superman. We also now know that Ben Affleck is a liar, because Wonder Woman did make a stunning cameo at the beginning of the movie, which I was here for. Finally, Jason Momoa's Aquaman graced the post-credits scene, a comical skit about a fish man who has a drinking problem. However, the cameo that nearly caused a fainting spell on my part was the return of George Nipplesuit Clooney as an alternate Bruce Wayne. Don't come for me. I know he's not the best Batman we've had, and the movie is subjective. But the Joel Schumacher movies are the ones I grew up with, in addition to Batman the Animated Series. They were like comic books come to life when I was young, and I'm still very sentimental about them. So I just loved this edition. It's no secret that The Flash pulled its main plot point from the acclaimed 5-issue miniseries Flashpoint, which also sees Barry wake up in an alternate timeline where his mother is alive. But it also does its own thing with the comic just as inspiration. Other moments taken straight from that comic was Superman's detainment in a holding facility. The fact that Kara was held in a base was more reminiscent of the Superman Red Sun story, at least I thought. Also, Barry's quote from the trailer, "Nobody Dies," is also the title of The Flash Volume 2, Issue 54. Lastly, I want to speak about the heart of the movie. It really revolves around Barry's struggle to find his identity, without his parents' upbringing, and the way this grief has shaped him into an eccentric superhero, in comparison to the alternate Barry who was a arrogant son of a b****, but also very funny. The way Barry from the main timeline connected to the one brought up with his parents was almost like therapy to him, and he had to go on this journey to find that he is exactly the way he's supposed to be. As Bruce said, our scars make us who we are.
You can also destroy everything.
In summary, many fans are going to absolutely love geeking out over this superhero movie, but its deviation away from the source material may irritate a few, particularly because there was no Hal Jordan cameo. I also thought it would have been a better idea to have Michael Keaton come in as Thomas Wayne instead of Bruce, keeping in line with the comic. That was such an interesting conversation between the characters in the source material, and I would have loved to have seen Miller and Keaton bring it to life. This feature is packed, so I wouldn't be surprised if some people find it messy and overstuffed to the point of titillation. I didn't, but I can see how it might. Something else to keep in mind is the 2-hour 35-minute runtime, so don't do what the person sitting next to me did and chug a bottle of Sprite, let out some ungodly tones during the quietest point of the movie, and then bolt to the toilet when all the cameos are going down. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on The Flash. Drop all your thoughts, opinions, theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like to help out the channel, and consider subscribing for more geeky content. I'm away to decide if The Flash takes the #1 DC movie spot away from Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I'm also going to find out where I can get myself one of those Flash rings. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.